Do you have a 9 to 5 job right now? Well, you are not alone, my friend. Hello, everyone, guys. Welcome to Definitely Housing Podcast. And honestly, guys, I am amazingly finally back after 2 months of inactivity on this podcast. I mean, the only thing that I can tell you right now is that my deepest apologies. I mean, I really didn't mean for it to happen at all. And without going any further or going a little bit too dramatic on this thing, for anyone who doesn't know me, my name is John Lim Dimas, and I am the host of this podcast, Definitely Housing Podcast. With this podcast, I tend to cover entrepreneurial niche topics, mostly motivational rants. And, from time to time, I get to do some interview episodes with variety of content creators out there or anyone who's incredibly influential in other niches out there. And I gotta say, it's been a while since I've done an interview episode. So if you are a content creator, hit me up in the comment section below, or maybe just hit me up on the DMs on my socials. As always, if you haven't listened or watched the previous episodes, which is all about the things that I have learned and experienced through my 9 to 5 job that I have literally started 6+ months ago, the link to that very episode will be in the description below, and it will have all the platforms that you can listen to it, or you can simply click the card above this video. Before we get started into this episode, I just wanted to get some few things out of the way. To start off, I once again, and I realize I've been saying this so many times on this podcast, but I just wanted to deeply apologize once again for so many times I have been inactive, and especially with the huge inconsistency of uploads here. I gotta be honest, guys, a lot has been going on a lot lately on my personal life. Been incredibly busy with my 9 to 5 job, actually, and honestly, as well as some minor difficulties when it comes to my podcasting wise. And that's pretty much the main reason why for all of that. And I have been so inactive. I just haven't gotten the time to do it and so on. And I mean this. I truly love doing this. All I can say is I really want to get serious on this podcast eventually. And perhaps, you know what? Maybe I could go full time with it. For me to make that happen and to make it a reality, guys, I truly appreciate for all the support that you have been giving me since the first day of this podcast. So any shares, or subscribes, highly appreciative of it. And as you can tell from the title of this episode, guys, I am here today to share my honest entrepreneurial thoughts about a certain aspect, or you could say a perspective of a 9 to 5 job. I realize the concept of a 9 to 5 job aren't one of those things that are neither trendy or perhaps something most people aren't comfortable talking about it. I mean, in this instance, I would like to focus on an aspect of it, and it actually has to do about you hating your current 9 to 5 job. Yes, I know the word hating is such a strong word, but I am not here to give you some negativity content in this podcast. That is not what this podcast is all about. So in today's episode, I would like to go ahead and share my thoughts about that. And perhaps I may be able to get to tell you on my side of things, why is it that most of us just hate our current 9 to 5 job? And so if you guys are ready for it, let's do it. Wait, before you proceed listening or watching this episode, just know the following things. This podcast is 100% uncensored, and I am more likely will share some controversial or even sensitive things that may end up getting you triggered. So if you're one of those people who has an incredibly thin skin, then all I can say is this isn't meant for you. So honestly, get the fuck out of here. But if you're someone who's ready to hear some valuable motivational content, then hey, you are more welcome to this podcast then. To start off, I'm pretty sure that the majority of us have a 9 to 5 job at this very moment. Whether you're working as a fast food server or a restaurant server, retail or grocery associate, office work in general, just anything in general that lets you earn a paycheck on a regular basis. Do me a quick small favor and go right ahead and don't hesitate to comment down below and simply let me know what type of a 9 to 5 job do you currently have at the very moment. Whatever it is, please, I would love to know more about it. And how do you feel about it? Do you love or hate it? To give you a brief summary of my current 9 to 5 job, I'm a housekeeper on a nursing home in my area. I gotta tell you, since I started this new 9 to 5 job, it's been a huge culture shock to me overall. So if you guys would like to know more about my experience during that transition, then I definitely would check out this very episode where I shared what I have learned and experienced during there. And as always, the links will always be in the description below for all the platforms. Or as always, you can simply click the card above this video if you're watching this through YouTube. Another thing to note is that this episode isn't going to be meant to be very whiny or me complaining about life. Hell no. There is a huge difference between someone using a platform like YouTube or social media wise to start bitching or whining like a entitled fucking idiot not knowing jack about life. I mean, all they ever say are nothing but pure negativity, and negativity will never exist in this podcast. I'm going to be real with you guys. My end goal in every episodes I upload monthly is to somehow motivate and inspire someone out there who just simply needs a tiny bit of uplift and motivation into their lives. I totally understand that most times we all think that and wonder that life kind of sucks for us right now. And it's literally dragging us down into pieces and literally no fucking mercy on us. So that's why I started this podcast. And that's what I meant by this podcast is uncensored. I'm literally going to be cussing out all the way on this podcast. That's what I meant by uncensored. So I hope this doesn't really offend you guys in any shape or form. Let me get back on this episode before I start getting sidetracked on what I am about to share with you guys. I guess it's time for me to move on to the very first thing I wanted to talk about on this episode. So that's coming up next. The thing about a 9 to 5 job is just that you could realistically say there's absolutely nothing wrong with it in general. But thing is, if you keep looking at it on the general perspective, I bet you will truly never going to understand what I am going to say for the next few minutes of this podcast. Besides the point, let's not look on the general perspective that most of us were told about since we started working and so on. Let me go ahead and tell you this right here and right now on a entrepreneurial perspective, because believe me, this could probably mind blow the hell out of you or even change your mind overall. But the question is, are you guys down and ready to hear what I am about to share with you guys? I mean, if that is the case, then hey, let's proceed to the next one then. So my real beef with the concept of a 9 to 5 job isn't so much about what it does and can offer to us, but I'm looking at it on a different perspective. Like I said earlier, like what it actually does to us emotionally as a person. So bear with me for the next few minutes. First off, getting a paycheck from your 9 to 5 job sure does feels great and amazing, but the thing is, but at what cost actually? What do we have to, I guess you could say, offer to them in order for us to get a paycheck from that employer? What is it that we as employees have to give up in order to get a paycheck? I mean, I bet you didn't expect that at all, didn't you? Well, I got more to say, so don't you worry about that, guys. Another thing is, I realized that there are many reasons, or if not hundreds of reasons, why someone could simply hate their 9 to 5 job. Like, believe me, there's a fuck ton of them. Not even joking at all, guys. The thing is, you may be getting a paycheck from your 9 to 5 job, but you just have to wonder if the paycheck that you're earning is actually worth it, or is it that no matter how many times I come in at work and do my job, why is it that sometimes that you feel so unsatisfied and unhappy about it? Have you guys ever felt that feeling before in your life? Please comment down below if you ever felt that feeling before, because I'll tell you what, I definitely been on the same boat before there, and I gotta tell you, it's a very mind-blowing experience for me. You may wonder what exactly John is trying to say. You see, in my honest opinion, guys, you only hate your 9 to 5 job, not because you just fucking hate it in general. Fuck no. There's always a reason to that. I mean, are you just a miserable person in general? Is that why? No, I really don't believe that's the case. So check this out. Whether you admit it or not, the only sole reason why you could possibly hate your 9 to 5 job is only because you are very unhappy with it. Now, why you are unhappy with it? Well, that's a very good question. And I'm going to get into that right now. So one thing I would definitely note on this one is I previously said there are many reasons why someone could be hating their 9 to 5 job. That is very true. I would never dispute and deny about it. What I am saying is, I believe that someone is very unhappy with their 9 to 5 job only because it's not something that they wanted to do overall. I know it sounds unrealistic to some of you guys, and I do get where you guys are coming from. My thing is this, and I am speaking, and I want you guys to pay attention to the next few minutes of what I am about to tell you now. I'm speaking to every single person out there right now who's listening or watching this. Please, if you don't want this 9 to 5 job right now in the first place, then why in the flying fuck are you still in it? What? Is it because it has a good fucking paycheck? Who the fuck cares? You mean to tell me that you would rather be going into your 9 to 5 job, clocking and be fucking miserable about it? Start acting like a bitch to your coworkers and even to the customers out there? Is that what the fuck you want in the end? I seriously don't think that's never what you wanted in the first place. I bet you must be thinking right now, and you're still doing this 9 to 5 job because you have to, or you really don't have much of a choice. I mean, hold up. The hell you mean? The hell you mean you don't have a choice? Of course you got a fucking choice. You always do. See, that is the type of shit that seriously gets me so triggered easily. That's the thing with that. It's just bad mentality overall to have it in the first place. Or is it just because you are already amazingly way attached to your very own comfort zone? Is that it? I wonder. Or you just don't really give a fuck anymore and you're pretty much content with your life overall. Like, you just don't care how unhappy you are as a person, and since you're still getting paid, it really doesn't even matter anymore. That's just fucking bad. I'm sorry, I just can't accept that. You know what, guys? Given to the special circumstances we may all have, good or bad, I understand that not everyone has the same life or difficulties we may all face. But the thing is, despite of how fucked up your life it may seem, you can definitely change that for the better. It's never a permanent event in your life. and it's never too late to do anything about it. It never was, and it never will. You could say, think of it as a slight altercation or a slight U-turn in your life. Think of it that way. If you have gotten this far of this episode, I definitely would like to ask you guys a small favor. And if you happen to like what you are hearing so far in this episode, please consider leaving an amazing huge thumbs up on this episode and share this to anyone who needs to hear about this. Any type of support is highly appreciated, guys. Now, you may actually be wondering, what can you possibly do if you have a 9 to 5 job that you really hate and you just want a better life overall? That I can definitely give you my thoughts on that one. It's actually a pretty simple one, but the catch is you just have to put in the work into it or else it just would never work. So bear with me as I will use one of the most common 9 to 5 jobs as an example. So let's say you work in a very shitty fast food joint like McDonald's, Wendy's, Taco Bell, etc. And let's just say, hypothetically, you happen to be diving into becoming a content creator just like me, whether you're getting into streaming, creating a YouTube channel, or even starting your own podcast just like what I'm doing right now. I mean, there are many ways you can work around it and not ending up wasting your precious energy on a 9 to 5 job you don't even want to be part of. So agree or disagree? Cool. My tip for anyone out there is pretty simple. I just would never apply for a 9 to 5 job that you know damn well that it will never benefit you as a whole when it comes to this. I mean, it doesn't even have to be becoming a content creator. It could literally be anything. Maybe you just want an actual career, you want to get into it. Maybe becoming a doctor, a lawyer, a nurse practitioner. The thing is, it could be literally anything you want. I mean, the real end goal here is for you to pursue something you truly wanted in the first place, and not something what others have told you to do so. So you know what? Fuck those guys. Like, seriously, I'm not even kidding. Speaking of content creation, I know a fellow content creator just like me, and he happens to be a Twitch streamer, and I have him as a guest on this podcast very long time ago. I would say a year and a half ago. And his name, by the way, is Louis IPA, aka Louis. If you want to go ahead and watch the whole episode of that interview, I will go ahead and leave all the links in the description below, or just go ahead and click the card above again. If you guys want to check out his streams and so on, and go hit him up on the social medias, I will also go ahead and leave those links as well in the description as well. Give him a follow and let him know that I send you there. When it comes to Lewis, when I did the interview with Lewis, I was asking him about some things about his streaming and all that, and he happened to tell me that he was also doing a 9 to 5 job as well on the side, aside from streaming as well. So please correct me if you can, Lewis, if you happen to be listening or watching this episode. Are you still on the same 9 to 5 job that you happened to tell me a year and a half ago when we did the interview? You told me that you used to work on a fast food and so on. If that's no longer the case, then holy shit, I seriously got to catch up on what's going on your end. It's been a while, Lewis. I'm so sorry, man. But that's the thing. My point is, if a guy like him can get into content creation that he's incredibly passionate about, then why couldn't you? What is your overall fucking excuse? I mean, he's not the only content creator that I know that who also does a 9 to 5 job as well on the side. There's another content creator that I know as well, and I also follow her up as well. And by the way, huge shout out to Little Leonessa, aka Jules. So I hope that you're doing well over there, and I hope that you're having a great Thanksgiving so far. I hope that you're having a blast on your stream so far, because if I remember correctly now, she is now a full-time streamer now. So just do me a quick favor, guys. Just go check her out on her Twitch. She's a pretty amazing person to connect with. So let her know that John sent you there. She's a pretty fun person to watch too. And you know what? If that still doesn't convince you somehow, then let me at least tell you this instead. I would rather you look for a 9 to 5 job that can actually benefit you on your journey rather than sucking up on a 9 to 5 job that you know damn well that you're gonna fucking hate so much. I say rather than crying about it, look for another one. Or perhaps it's time for you to actually dwell into what you really wanted in your life. Go have a one-on-one on yourself and just ask, perhaps it's time for you to start pursuing what you truly wanted in life. I'm not fucking joking, guys. Go fucking for it. Go for it. No regrets. For me to finally wrap up this episode, let me just say some few more things up for this episode, and we are set and done. Just know that every single one of us have a different set of circumstances and challenges we all have to deal in life. I have my own struggles too, guys. But guess what? That shit never slowed me down once, and that shit actually fuels up my motivation to be better and definitely start hustling and grinding on what I truly want to do in my life. In addition, I just wanted to say that everyone deserves to be able to pursue what they truly want to do in their lives and be happy with it. Just follow the pursuit of happiness, because happiness is fucking king. I want to say that if you truly despise and hate your current 9 to 5 job you have right now at the moment, I think it's about time for you to start asking yourself the bigger question. And that is, what do I really want in my life? If that's the case, then the last thing I gotta say is always trust the process. Always trust it no matter how fucked up your life it may seem. And also, never ever give up on your pursuit of what you are truly passionate about. Go for it. Go chase that shit. Go make it happen. Definitely hustle and grind, guys. Other than that, guys, that is the end of this episode now. Thank you for everyone for listening and watching this episode right now. And you guys can go ahead and watch the rest of my Definitely Motivational playlist on the card above as well if you want to watch the rest of this series as well. I'm just going to simply try the best of my ability to finally, you could say, get back on my feet and start getting consistently uploading episodes here on this podcast, because I'm just really trying to make up for so much time that I have been so inactive. I don't want to mess this up again. And again, thanks for all the support out there. And if you haven't subscribed on this podcast, then give us a subscribe here, and that way you don't get to miss any new updates or new episodes coming on this podcast. Aside from YouTube as well, guys, you guys can actually listen to this podcast on different platforms as well. Like if you prefer Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, whatever you want, I'm pretty much live on there. In addition, if you're listening to this through Anchor and you find this episode valuable, you can actually easily become a supporter of this podcast by simply dropping a quick monthly donation if you want, if you can. And if you happen to do so, any amount will do, and I will be tremendously thankful for it. And just make sure you guys go ahead and check us out on our socials on the description below. Everything will be there. We're live on Twitter, Instagram, I believe TikTok, Facebook, all that good stuff. So just wanted to say one more thing, and that is I do hope that you guys are having a great, amazing Thanksgiving so far. If you are having to listen to this during or afterwards, man, I can't believe 2024 is literally around the corner. Aren't you guys excited about that? I sure am. Other than that, guys, I will see you guys later. Keep up the hustle and grind alive. This is Definitely Hustling Podcast. John Dimas signing out. Have a great and safe Thanksgiving, everyone. See you guys later.